The French fry. Christy had always had a special place in her heart for French fries. They were her top choice for comfort food, the one snack that could lift her spirits after a tough day filled with stress and errands. Whether it was a large order from her favorite fast food spot or homemade fries crisp to perfection, they were her go-to treat. However, on this particular evening, she took things too far. She settled onto the couch in front of the TV, a massive plate piled high with golden, crispy fries, ready to indulge. Each bite was a taste of pure happiness, crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside. But soon, that bliss started to fade into something much more concerning. As she kept eating, a strange feeling began to creep in. It wasn't just the typical sensation of being overly full. It was something deeper, a weird pressure that settled uncomfortably in her chest. At first, she brushed it off as a natural consequence of her indulgence, something she could easily ignore. However, the uncomfortable feeling intensified, tightening more and more around her chest. Christy suddenly halted, her fork poised midway to her mouth, a sense of unease washing over her. Something felt very wrong in that moment. She decided to push the plate away, but by then, the situation had escalated far too quickly. In an instant, the room began to spin, and a wave of panic struck her like lightning. Christy sprang to her feet, her heart racing as if it were trying to escape her chest. It felt as though the fries were somehow staging a rebellion against her. She instinctively clutched her stomach, and fear seeped into her thoughts. Memories of a past moment replayed in her mind, where her friend Sam had playfully laughed at her for eating beyond her limit. That had been a light-hearted joke. This, however, felt entirely different. This was serious. This felt like a real threat to her well-being. Fighting against the overwhelming sensation, Christy stumbled her way to the bathroom, each breath shallow and quick. Peering into the mirror, she saw a reflection that barely resembled herself. Her face was pale, almost ghostly, and beads of sweat trickled down her forehead. The fries that had once brought her joy were now morphing into a nightmare scenario. As her thoughts spiraled, she couldn't help but think about her family, her upcoming weekend plans, and the looming question of whether she would see them again. Would she make it through this? Just then, her phone buzzed insistently, breaking through the haze of her thoughts. It was a text from Sam. "You okay? You disappeared." Christy wanted nothing more than to reply, but her fingers were shaking uncontrollably, making the screen seem like it was moving in and out of focus. Panic clouded her mind, and doubt began to suffocate her. What if she didn't survive this? The thought struck her like a cold wave. She recalled stories of people collapsing after overeating, and wondered if that fate was waiting for her. Suddenly fueled by a rush of adrenaline and determination, she snatched up her phone and fired off a desperate message. "Help! I think I'm gonna explode." After hitting send, she doubled over, gripping the sink for stability as the world around her began to fade. She could hear her heart racing, the thumping pulse of panic thudding in her ears. But amidst the chaos, a new thought emerged. What if this situation was about more than just an overindulgence? What if it was a sign, a warning from her body that she had ignored for too long? She realized that she had been pushing herself beyond her limits, disregarding the signs of stress that had become a regular part of her life. The fries might have just been the last straw in a long line of neglect. Change was necessary, but would she even have the opportunity to make that change? Just as her vision threatened to dim entirely, the bathroom door burst open. Sam rushed in, his expression a mix of fear and urgency that tugged at Christy's heart. "Christy!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the fog of her panic. "Stay with me." As darkness began to creep in, one significant thought broke through the haze. This was a wake-up call. If she could somehow pull through, she vowed to stop ignoring her needs and confront her struggles head-on. But for that moment, all she needed to do was hold on tight to the hope of survival.